good, folks? It's Nightmare Frame here with a new video. It ain't a Warframe video, but a Borderlands 3 one. Oh yeah, for those who don't know, I do sometimes stream Borderlands 3 and I wanted to do something different. So here's my first Borderlands 3 YouTube video. Pretty much everyone knows the Moze setup, and that is the infinite grenades or the massive shields with 1 HP. And yes, you can combine the two, but you would have to sacrifice things here and there. But she's still pretty beastly and hard to kill. Unfortunately, you don't see much use of her Iron Bear in the late game as it falls off in terms of damage and just usability. And to be honest, the most challenging content right now is the Slaughter Shaft. Not because of the tough enemies, is because of the visual clutter of the badasses with freaking rocket launchers that just blind you. I mean, there are ways to help you navigate this clutter by marking the target, but that does get annoying and tedious. Now the best Vault Hunter to deal with all this clutter right now is Moze with her no care in the world massive splash damage build. It makes Torg super proud. So if you're a Torg fan, a fan of explosions, I'm sorry, then you should definitely try this build out. And the Flacker was a good tool to use on her, but with the recent buffs and nerfs, the current Flacker made this build very inefficient to use. So if you're looking for a strong and explosive shotgun to replace the Flacker that also does a lot of splash damage and damage, I introduced to you the Boring Gun. It shoots saw blades in front of you in a cone shape that explode on impact, and the leftover ones just roll around till they make contact with an enemy. And this weapon does a lot of self-damage if you're not careful. It does come in other elements, but I only have the non-elemental and cryo version. And pretty much any weapon can be used on this build, but I personally love explosions with this Moze build. This is the Mayhem modifier, by the way, and my Guardian points. So let's start off with the build. In the bottomless mags section, which is the green tree, I put 5 points into Cloud of Lead. This grants a percentage of my shots to deal increased incendiary damage and not consume ammo. And the only point into Redistribution, this gives a percentage to regen ammo whenever you crit, and you're going to be critting a lot, no worries. And 3 points into Stoke the Embers to increase the incendiary damage we deal by 30%, and that will be all in the green tree. Moving on to the Demolition Woman, 5 points into Fire in the Skag Den to increase the incendiary damage even more when we deal splash damage, so shit tons of incendiary damage. 3 points into Means of Destruction, very important for this build, as we have a percentage to regen ammo and grenades whenever we deal splash damage. And to increase that splash damage radius, put 5 points into Torg Cross Promotion. By the end of this tree, everything will deal splash damage. Now 3 points into Pull the Holy Pin. This gives Moze's grenades a percent to crit, and we gain 50% crit chance thanks to the class mod. And the 1 point into Auto Bear. This will have our Iron Bear remain active on the battlefield whenever we dismount. Great to pull enemy aggro and debuff them with the augments I'll be taking, which are Vanquisher Rocket Pod and Target Softening. This debuffs enemies to take 15% more damage from all sources. Think of it like Slag from Borderlands 2. And 5 points into Vampire. This grants you lifesteal with the grenades. Thanks to the class mod, I get 28%. And to the last, allows me to throw grenades while in fight for your life. Super useful. And 2 points into why can't I carry all these grenades to increase our grenade cap. To be honest, you don't really need this since you have infinite grenades, but it's just to get us down to the final skill, Short Fuse, to give your shots a chance to have explosive rounds, and the explosions deal 75% of your gun damage. And moving on to the orange tree. Put 5 points into Armored Infantry to increase your gun damage and damage reduction if your shields are active. If you're doing arenas like this, your shields are gonna go down pretty fast. This is just to move us down to Drowning in Brass, a kill skill that increases gun damage but reducing fire rate. It's not a big hit and it stacks up to a maximum of 3. And put 2 points into Vladov Ingenuity for the shock damage resistance and increased max shields. This is all to move us down to Experimental Munitions. And yes, for even more incendiary damage. So that's the build. So taking a look at the class mod, I use a Blastmaster. Would love better bottom stats, but it does give +2 on Vampire, +2 on Pull the Holy Pin, and +1 on Redistribution. And the grenade mod is of course the recurring Hex. For me personally, this is a god roll, the homing, divider, and Merv splitting into multiple grenades that proc a lot. of the cryo element, which is a lot better than the radiation version. Why? Because enemies affected by cryo end up being slowed and then initially get frozen. So you have a good source of crowd control, and they also take more damage from crits when they're frozen. Win-win. And my shield is the stopgap for that 5 seconds of invulnerability when my shield breaks, and this one gives me a chance to absorb bullets as ammo. And my relic is the last stand pull-up method for even more invulnerability when my health drops below 50%. This won't happen as often, but it's a safety measure. But you can use other relics if you want. Relics are down to personal preference. So for those who are interested in this build, I will provide a save file for you in the description if you want to take it for a spin or just steal the gear from this save. It's up to you. And that's been it for me. I do hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you did, feel free to leave a like, share, and subscribe. And if you're interested in more Borderlands content, do tell me in the comments section. Thanks for watching, and as always, peace.